Hello, thanks for joining me. My name is Jay Leggett, and I'd like to talk with you today about my paper entitled Popol, A History and Presentation of the Quiché Maya Worldview. Many people are intrigued and fascinated by material and landscape remains of ancient societies of the Western Hemisphere. Prior to the arrival of European conquerors, traders, missionaries, many distinct cultures already occupied the land. One such culture was that of the Maya, who lived in a region of Mesoamerica centered on the modern country of Guatemala, and also including portions of southern Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, and Belize. The pre-contact Maya left behind an amazing complex of architectural features and other cultural materials. They also left behind evidence of their literacy in the form of hieroglyphics, carved in stone, stucco, and other materials. Perhaps the most acclaimed example of Mayan literature is known today as the Popol Vuh. A review of the literature available on the subject of the Popol Vuh, the Mayan book of the dawn of life, reveals an intriguing story of the journey of this work of literary art and repository of the culture of the Maya people, which has been preserved for us over the past 5 centuries. My paper describes what is known about the preservation of this work by Spanish missionaries in the 16th century, as well as more recent efforts to utilize the Popol Vuh to gain greater insight into the worldview of the Maya. The Popol Vuh provides vivid and evocative imagery of the Mayan creation story, but it also seems to have been influenced by the newcomers to the Western Hemisphere and by Christianity. We're fortunate to have the Popol Vuh at all. The Maya were one of only a few indigenous cultures in the Western Hemisphere to have a written system of language prior to contact with Europeans. Once Europeans arrived seeking gold, silver, land, and slaves, indigenous cultures went through massive changes. Spanish priests are known to have burned hundreds, if not thousands, of Mayan books in their quest to convert the natives. But the Catholic clergy did adopt a practice of recruiting the sons of the native Maya ruling class and teaching them Spanish so they could help with conversions and other administrative duties. It is probably one of these natives, named Utalan, who, along with others, seem to have written the Popol Vuh onto paper in their native Quiché Mayan dialect, but using Roman letters. Credit for then translating the Popol Vuh into Spanish is usually given to a Dominican priest named Francisco Jimenez. Jimenez started by writing out a translation of the original on one side of a page, and then writing the corresponding Spanish translation on the other side of the page. That translation of the Popol Vuh now resides in the Newberry Library in Chicago, Illinois. Over the past 500 years, the work has been translated into other languages, including French, German, and English. The most highly regarded translation into English is that first published in 1985 by Dennis Tedlock. This is the translation I read as part of my research. Tedlock has taken a cross-disciplinary approach, spending years in Guatemala studying the Quiché Mayan language and culture, including their shamanistic beliefs. Many believe that his translation of the Popol Vuh is the best work completed to date. The story itself begins as a description of the Quiché people's deities, and these deities' various efforts to create the world and all its inhabitants. Most of the story is clearly unrelated to the human Bible, but some sections do seem to suggest that some ideas were borrowed from the newcomers to the Western Hemisphere. The Popol Vuh explains the trial and error process by which the gods create man. It chronicles the lineages of Quiché hierarchy. It describes the complex Mayan calendar. The story describes heroic deities, hurricanes, and many trials and tribulations of the Quiché people. Many of these stories revolve around a game played with a rubber ball. We learn of the importance of astronomical signs relative to the planting and harvesting of crops. The Popol Vuh was a living document which continued to evolve. The generations of Lord Quichés were enumerated, along with the noble titles held by each. And this process continued even into the time of Spanish conquest and colonization of the Americas. We learn of various deities and their many undertakings. Then there's a story of a maiden named Blood Moon, the daughter of a lord named Blood Gatherer. The maiden miraculously conceives and gives birth to twin boys who go on to partake in various adventures and endure many tests. There is also mention of black people and white people, perhaps another suggestion of the influence of newcomers to the Western Hemisphere. We're reminded at the beginning and the end of the Popol Vuh that it is being set to paper at a time when the Quiche nation is occupied by another people. Again, Christianity and Christendom are mentioned directly at the beginning and the end. One may suspect that several important aspects of the Bible have been worked into the narrative. Finally, there's a suggestion that the Quiche story has reached its end. The Popol Vuh story itself takes up less than half of Dennis Tedlock's translation. The rest of the book is a fascinating exploration of Quiche Maya culture. I would encourage you to add this book to your reading list. I hope you found this presentation interesting. I certainly enjoyed preparing it for you. Thank you for joining me today.